There are moments in life when just 1 second is enough to change everything forever. For Daniel Kowalski, that moment arrived on a warm Thursday morning in San Diego. He was standing inside his old garage, wiping grease from his rough, oil-stained hands when he heard the soft, luxurious purr of an engine outside. The sound was smooth, expensive, and completely out of place in the working class neighborhood where Daniel had spent his entire life. At the very same time, across the city, 19-year-old Sienna Donovan was experiencing a moment just as powerful, but far quieter. Slowly, carefully, she lowered her foot to the ground. There was no pain, no sharp reminder of the accident that had taken her mobility when she was only 8 years old. No applause, no celebration, just a trembling breath and a realization she had stopped believing in years ago. Before that miracle, there had been years of loss and despair. Daniel had not always been a struggling mechanic. When he was younger, he dreamed of becoming an aerospace engineer, just like his younger brother Miguel. The two of them used to sit on the roof of their small house, watching airplanes take off from San Diego International Airport, sketching engines and wings, convinced their future lived in the sky. Everything collapsed the night Daniel's wife Elena died due to complications after giving birth to their daughter, Zoe. Sitting alone after the funeral, holding his newborn baby, Daniel stared at his college acceptance letter from UC San Diego. He knew he could not chase dreams anymore. He dropped out and returned to his father's old garage, a place that smelled of oil, metal, and survival. Years later, tragedy struck again. Miguel was badly injured in a scuba diving accident, suffering a severe spinal cord injury. The doctors said he would never walk again. An experimental surgery existed, but it cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Daniel begged, borrowed, and exhausted every option. In the end, Miguel was the one who stopped him. With a painful smile, he said, "You still have Zoe to raise. I'll be okay." 5 years later, Miguel passed away from complications related to his injury. In his final moments, he held Daniel's hand and whispered a promise that would haunt him forever. "If you ever get the chance, help people like me. Don't let them lose hope." From that day on, Daniel's garage became more than a workplace. Every night, after Zoe fell asleep, he studied biomechanics, orthopedic engineering, artificial joints, and the physics of human movement. He had no degree, no funding, and no recognition, only the hands of a gifted mechanic and a promise to a brother he had lost. Not far away lived Alexandra Lexi Donovan, a woman whose life could not have been more different. She was a billionaire, the CEO of a leading biotechnology company, admired on global stages and featured in international magazines. But none of that success could erase one moment from 11 years earlier. On a calm summer evening at Pacific Beach, Lexi had been distracted by a high-stakes business deal while her 8-year-old daughter, Sienna, was learning to surf. When a powerful wave hit, Sienna lost control. The surfboard struck her head, causing a traumatic brain and spinal injury. She survived, but she could no longer feel her legs. For 11 years, Lexi fought fate the only way she knew how, by spending money. Millions went into surgeries, therapies, specialists, and experimental treatments across the world. Nothing worked. Sienna's latest brace, a cutting-edge device costing $180,000, looked perfect on paper, but every step still caused pain. Sienna never complained. She smiled and told her mother she was fine. But at night, Lexi sometimes heard her daughter crying softly behind a closed door, and Lexi would sit alone in her glass office overlooking the ocean, wondering if money could ever buy forgiveness. That Thursday morning, fate finally brought their worlds together. Daniel was finishing work on an engine while his daughter Zoe sat nearby, drawing strange machines on scrap paper. When Zoe asked why a joint wouldn't move smoothly, Daniel gently explained that without proper balance and lubrication, movement always becomes painful. Moments later, a white Rolls-Royce pulled up outside the garage. The car had overheated. Lexi stepped out, followed by Sienna, who struggled to sit down because of the rigid metal braces around her legs. Daniel noticed immediately. Years of studying movement had trained his eyes to see what others missed. As he worked on the car, Daniel kept glancing at Sienna. The way she shifted, the tension in her body, the unnatural pressure points. Finally, he knelt in front of her and asked a simple question no one else ever had. "Is your brace too tight?" With a few careful adjustments, Daniel redistributed the pressure and changed the alignment. Sienna stood again. This time, when her foot touched the ground, there was no pain. Tears filled her eyes. Lexi froze, realizing that what money, technology, and elite medicine had failed to do, an ordinary mechanic had accomplished with understanding and compassion. Sometimes, miracles are not created by power or wealth. Sometimes, they begin with knowledge, kindness, And one simple question that changes everything.